Okay, right. So I think I'm ready to start. I don't know how many people are going to be joining me live today, but this is your Cell Blueprint webinar stroke workshop. I'm going to go through, basically the three main answers and three main categories and some things you can do. If you do have any questions, type them in the chat box if you haven't already sent them to me via email maybe, or ask at the end where I will have some live question and answer. Please be aware, and I'll remind everyone at the end, that this will be recorded, and I do plan to share this on YouTube for educational purposes. So if you are wanting to say something very sensitive, maybe you didn't want to do that live. So I will ask everyone individually, I think, at the end. So let's see, we're recording away. So yeah, welcome to the webinar. For those of you who are going to be watching this later and who don't already know me, I'm Chris Pickard. Originally trained as a doctor of chiropractic. I'm a member of the International Association of Functional Neurology. I'm the only UK graduate. That used to be the first, but I am actually the only UK graduate of the Cardiovascular Health Institute. So that's basically training to look after your heart health and your cardiovascular health without using medication or surgery, actually run by a cardiologist. I am a certified Cell Blueprint metabolic fitness practitioner. I'm a heroic coach. And also, if you look at that little small picture, I do have my picture in the Guinness Book of Records. I am one of the butchers there. Yeah, it's a very small picture, and it's for a very unexciting but fun to do record attempt. Now, the main thing for everyone to remember is that you decide. You decide to get healthier. It's not about your genes, although your genes do filter what can happen. You can override your genes most of the time. 99.99% of the time, it's you who are in control, or more control than you realize. So the webinar. Part of the purpose of the webinar is to help you choose the practitioner that you think is going to be best able to help you. Now, there are a lot of people out there. I see now we're having problems. A lot of people out there are brain-centered, because your brain, after all, surely it does actually affect the liver and your thyroid and your cells. There is actually communication right down to the cellular level from your brain. So it's through your nervous system in your spine, colon as well. So is it your brain? Is it your thoughts? Is it your emotions? Is it your psychology that is the most important thing that affects everything? Well, in some people, yes, that is the place to start. However, we now know that a lot of people's mental health is actually secondary to what's happening in your gut. To just get rid of that, but it's not really okay. Your gut, and also what's happening in your gut, can affect your liver, all the toxins, all the food you're eating, and then that can set off autoimmune reactions and cause problems in your thyroid. And yes, if you're not actually digesting properly, if you're putting rubbish into your gut, you will have rubbish in your cells. So is it your gut? Is it a gut health practitioner, a gut health first practitioner that you need? Or is it someone who's going to be really excellent at detoxification? That is something that I really did do a lot of work in. So yes, I was all up for you. You've got to clean the liver for the brain to work, the colon to work, the cells to work. And what I should actually put in here is something about chiropractic as well, because, yep, I haven't. Are you a spine first practitioner? Because I know as a chiropractor that I've had people with manic depression, actually their mood stabilize after an adjustment. I've had people with colon problems, irritable bowel problems, get better once the spine's adjusted. I've had people whose blood sugar actually regulates better after a spinal adjustment. So do you need a brain first person, a liver first person, a gut first person? Do you need a spine first practitioner? Who do you choose? Well, basically, I think we should let science have an answer. And this is something that it's in my book. It's something I've shared before in videos. It's the levels of organization. Now, most people, let's see if I can actually do, is there the viewer? I always have trouble finding this. I always have trouble finding this. No, can't find the pointer. No, it's here somewhere. I always have to look at it. But basically, we are made of atoms, individual atoms. So whether you're talking about hydrogen or iron, kind of important, calcium, potassium, we are made of atoms, and those atoms then make up molecules, and those molecules then make up macromolecules, so complex things, and then so things like proteins, for instance, and amino acids, and then, or amino acid I think is a molecule, and protein would be a macromolecule. Then your organelles, so these are little things that live inside your cells. One of the organelles that a lot of people have heard of today are mitochondria. Now, not everyone has. I will come back to that a bit later. Mitochondria are where all the energy is made in your cells. And then you have your cells. And your cells are the smallest self-replicating part of your entire system. Your cells can make other cells. And when lots of cells get together, they make a tissue. So you have lots of cells that make muscle tissue. You have lots of cells that make vein tissue or endothelial tissue, brain tissue, liver tissue. And then when a lot of tissues get together, there are four main types. When four main types of tissue get together in different combinations, they create organs. So different organs are made up of different tissue types, but there are four main types, and all four types of tissue are made up of cells. And then organs get together to make an organ system, like your gastrointestinal system. And then those organ systems get together to make an organism. And then a load of organisms get together to make up a population. And actually, population does have an effect on your organism, does have an effect on your organs, does have an effect on your tissue, and does have an effect on your cells. It actually goes all ways. But the thing that's in the middle that basically is the single smallest aspect of your health and your well-being, that is something you can really do a lot about, is your cells. So this is where the cell blueprint is a fantastic evidence-based questionnaire with evidence-based questions looking at different areas. Now, the test that you've taken online, so what would be really good is, actually, there's only a few people joining me live today. I know I deliberately chose a time that was good for me. But basically, there are three main areas. Is your cell being provided with what it needs to be healthy? Because if it doesn't get what it needs to be healthy, it's not going to be healthy. Are you able to protect yourself from different invaders? Because you can get stealth bacteria, stealth viruses. You can get different problems, different things that attack your cells. So first of all, are your cells being provided what they need? Are they going to be protected from what's going on? Or are you protecting yourself well enough? Or do you have to get rid of these things? And is the environment in which your cells are living, is that healthy too? So just to remind people coming in that you can type questions, or you can just wait till the end and join me actually live, basically. So hopefully you've done this, and you'd have either basically come up with, you need, to provide, do you need to promote, or do you need to protect? And so I'm just going to quickly say, in the provide section of the questionnaire that you've done online, there are four main sections. Now, I said quiz online because the actual full quiz, which I'll get to, goes into more in depth. And there's four main areas that it's trying to identify with the evidence-based questions. Do you have a micronutrient deficiency? Do you have an inability to deliver oxygen? Is it a glucose or fatty acid availability? Are you getting enough raw materials to create the energy you need? Or is it the actual mitochondria, which is the thing that turns all that into energy? Is that the problem? And so the number one, so this is your mitochondria, or it's a picture of a mitochondria. Now, all of your cells have hundreds, if not thousands, of mitochondria. And there are a lot of practitioners that are mitochondria first, that if you look after your mitochondria, then your cells can look after themselves as well. So maybe I should have put in mitochondria first practitioner as well, because mitochondria are part of your cells. But it's probably better to look at the cellular level. And when it comes to providing the and there are things you can do to actually make your mitochondria work. That's not going to be the scope of this webinar. I have done videos and webinars on energy, but again, it's more than what can be contained in just one webinar. There are entire courses on mitochondrial health. this is one of the most important studies that I think has ever been done on health. It's the PREDICT study. It looked at 13,000 twins, some of them identical. One of the identical twins in the study was one of my patients who's been part of this for about 20 years. And he basically went into the study to basically show that, genetics is the main determinant of your health. That's why he decided to look at identical twins. But he found out that health is only 20% genetic, and that most of it is modified by your lifestyle. So this should be really good news for you, that 80% of your health. So even if you've got a genetic problem that is causing a major problem, 80% of that health problem that is genetic is still actually down to what you can do. You can actually change how your genes express themselves. And the main components, the main things that he found that really that Professor Spector found is doubling your fiber. Now, this isn't going to help everybody. It depends on the sensitivity of your gut. But generally, the general rule of thumb is no matter how much fiber you're having, if you can increase it, you will be healthier. Because for instance, the amount of fiber, I'll just put this in terms, the amount of fiber that we're meant to be getting every day in the West is 30 grams. But if you actually go to Africa, India, and indigenous tribes, they're getting at least 60 grams. So most people in the UK aren't even getting 30 grams. So doing anything, even if you increase your fiber by 5 grams, it can help. And one of the ways, the other thing that is really important is to increase the amount of plant variety you're getting in your diet. And by increasing plant variety, you're probably going to increase fiber as well. So that's the two most important things to actually really keep you healthy, is increasing your fiber and increased plant variety. And this is what I call the cake. This is one of the bases of all health, is what you're putting into your body. But studies have shown that if you're already sick or ill, that food is actually too weak to replete depleted cells and bodies, and that you need to supplement. And there are loads of good supplement companies out there. I use a variety of them, but what I've done for people on this webinar, and also for people watching this later on, is make something really simple. If you have a QR code reader, this will take you straight to this website. And they believe they've got a really good ethos. This is actually a company set up, I will say, it's by a friend of mine. And yes, I will actually benefit if you use this link and put in my name or my clinic as the referring. So yes, I will make money. And they do a really good one a day multivitamin. They also recommend extra vitamin D, K2, especially in winter, or if you've got arthritis, if you've got gut problems, if you've got immune system dysregulation, extra vitamin D and K2 could be really important for you. You can get tests to make sure you're not going to get too much. Extra magnesium. So many people need extra magnesium. Not everybody, but a lot of people, especially people who exercise lots like me and sweat. And then collagen building. And there are various reasons why a lot of these, and collagen proteins, basically, there are a lot of different reasons why these things are important, but this is a good set of nutrients that works really well together for most people. If you're in any doubt before actually taking any supplements, then reach out to a healthcare provider who has actually got some expertise in vitamins and minerals and nutrients, which surprisingly is not most medical doctors. I know, because I have medical doctors as patients. So then we move on to Protect, and this is actually the toughest one to really say this is what you need to do. If you came up with Protect, this could be the toughest one to actually find a generic answer to. So there are 4 areas. Redox imbalances. So a lot of people know this as, or think of redox as antioxidants. So things like vitamin C. A lot of people are very keen on taking vitamin C and vitamin E. So another antioxidant. There are both water-soluble and fat-soluble antioxidants, but there's a problem. Okay, then there's excess exposure to environmental pollutants, immune system dysregulation, which I've already spoken a little bit about, and pretty much a lot of the time D3K2 can really help, and infections of different kinds. But here's the thing, antioxidants, okay, if taking too many over too long a period can actually be dangerous and deleterious to your health. Yes, taking too much vitamin C or vitamin A or vitamin E and too many basically antioxidants has been shown to not be beneficial for your health. So while small amounts are definitely needed, the whole oxidation process and what happens when your system is sort of kind of rusting and going to pieces, it's been shown that there is such a thing as too much antioxidation, because it stops a process that's actually happening for different reasons, because all these redox molecules, oxidant molecules, are actually signaling molecules that are trying to signal something, and if you block those signals, your body doesn't work properly. So there's actually some blood tests that I recommend to really see if you need a lot of antioxidants beyond what you'd find in a good multivitamin mineral. And again, I don't take a multivitamin every day because I'm healthy, I'm fit, there's nothing going wrong. But there are certain things on your blood test that I would look for. And I'll just quickly mention them now. Is you want to make sure your bilirubin isn't low. And again, medical doctors, as long as your bilirubin is under 21, they don't worry. But if it actually gets too low, that's a problem. And then there's something called GGT, which is a liver enzyme, which has been shown to be, even if it's in a normal range, like the high end of normal is not actually healthy. So the normal range is not healthy. So most people are told they're normal, but normal does not mean healthy. And then there's uric acid, which a lot of people equate to, if it's high, that's because of gout. And that may be true, but maybe uric acid is a very important antioxidant. But if your uric acid is low, that's a really horrible sign, as well as it being too high. And then, are you actually full of pollution? Well, the answer is probably yes, but there's a good questionnaire. You don't need to take lots of expensive tests for this, but there's a good questionnaire called the Wheezy Quiz, which again, when people go through the cell blueprint with me, if I think they need to take this test, they can, but you can look it up online. But then when it comes to infections, there are viruses, funguses, parasites, and so the deeper cell blueprint questionnaire helps look at which one of these may be, but also just a normal blood test can actually help reveal where we need to look and what we need to do. But yeah, basically, when it comes to toxins, it's almost pointless doing toxicology tests these days because everyone's toxic. We know that everything from polar bears, cormorants, and killer whales and blue whales are toxic. We know that, for instance, that whales in the middle of the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean are suffering with high blood pressure due to air pollution. Yes, it doesn't matter where you are in the UK, you are suffering with air pollution, even if you think you are living in clean air. That's a bit of a travesty, really. So everyone does need to detox, in my opinion, but it's a question of when and where and how. I've got a simple free detox program, which you can again look at the QR code, or you can actually, I haven't realized, I actually put the original videos on my website, so you don't need to sign up for anything. You can just come back, go to the painreliefcentres.co.uk/£5 detox. But if you want to sign up and get everything and all the bits and pieces that aren't on the website, then just go to this second address or just use the QR code and sign up and get more information. Once patients are at a certain level, or depending if they're really, really sick, then I'll put them through an intense 7-day detox program, which is much more advanced and requires a lot more nutrients than this, because this one just is mainly about fiber and some toxin binders. This is about taking lots of things that actually help push toxins out of your body. But true cellular detox does take at least 90 days, and there are different phases to it. And most people, when they come in first to see me, I put them on a kind of a prep phase of getting their body working better. And then I can use the 7-day detox a couple of times in the body phase, and then a modified version in the brain phase. And that gets rid of loads of stuff. But if there is only one thing I could actually recommend for you to help you in the protect area, it's taking something called Ganoderma, known as the king of herbs, even though it's not a herb, it's a mushroom. It's a Chinese medicinal mushroom, been used for thousands of years. There's lots of science on it. I've done webinars about this before, but it seems to protect against a lot of different viruses. that a lot of people, it protects against lots of different pollutants as well. It does enhance your immune system, but it's also good for immune regulation. So it's fine for people with autoimmune conditions as well. And it seems to be anti-cancer. And if you're going through chemotherapy, or though, it's best to take this on a cyclical nature, not all the time, along with a lot of nutrients that are good for you than anti-cancer. If you are taking chemotherapy, I would work with a nutritionist. If you're going to take any supplements at all, I would work with a nutritionist who knows how to work with chemotherapy and support the chemotherapy. Because, for instance, certain vitamins and minerals will stop the chemotherapy working as well as it should do while you're taking it. But then if you take the right things at the right time, you'll enhance the chemotherapy. So don't just rush out and buy lots of stuff if you're on chemotherapy or know someone on chemotherapy. There's actually lots of ways you can make the chemotherapy work better and with less side effects. But yeah, work with someone who knows how to do that, which would actually be me, because I've helped a lot of people through chemotherapy. So Ganoderma, enhances natural killer cells as well as killing lots of nasty bugs. If you want to use, and there's only one form of Ganoderma that I recommend because I've tested others, they don't seem to have the same effect. And also some studies have shown that a lot of Ganoderma supplements out there don't actually contain Ganoderma. So again, you can use this QR code. It takes you to this website and some videos and stuff exploring and telling you what ones I take and why. Then you have promote. And there are 4 main areas of promoting the tissue's health. There's, are you hydrated? And hydration, I'll get to in a moment. There's your acid-base balance. A lot of people think is, am I alkaline enough? They talk about alkalis. Some people are too alkaline. And the full blueprint questionnaire actually tells you whether you're too alkaline or too acid, or gives you a hint. Then there's cells-to-cell communication, which I've also hinted at. And then there's something deeper, which is purpose. Have you got a purpose in life? Because if you think you don't have a purpose, that can actually confound and frustrate everything else. So let's get into this. So first of all, drink your greens, eat your water. That's a subject of some videos that I've done over many years. You can go to this page on my website, the water content of a range of foods. That's the QR code. Again, you can come back to this on the replay. And it will take you to a page that talks a little bit about a number of things, including easy water or structured water, which is absolutely fascinating. And it's about more than drinking water. It's been found that, for instance, if you eat raw vegetables, the water contained in the raw vegetables will be much better than the water you drink. But also, if you add greens powder to water, you actually get much better hydration, and you also get much more benefits from your greens. It's all kinds of crazy stuff. And this is one of the things that I use, a drink called Fruits and Greens by a company called Nutridyne. It will help alkalize you. It's because it contains lots of different fruit and vegetable types. It helps improve that plant variety and help feed the bacteria in your gut, just like Tim Spector and the Predict study want. And it can help alkalize your body, and you can't overdose on this stuff, basically, unless you just don't like the taste of it. So that is a wonderful drink. That's the QR code to go and get it. And yes, that is a link where is my affiliate link. But then there's purpose. And this is where we do actually get back to the driving factor of the brain. Because if you don't have purpose, if you are not thinking in the right way, and again, your thinking can actually involve your gut and everything else. So if you had loads of therapy for your brain and nothing's getting anywhere, you need to look at your gut. But say your gut's working properly, everything's working properly, or say your gut is still a problem and you're taking all the right nutrients. Or you're still in pain, but you're taking all the right nutrients, and you've detoxed and you've taken all the herbs to kill and protect everything. Then maybe you need to look at how to think, and you need a coach. And for free, you can actually go here and you can go to Mastery Series Module 0. There's 2 videos. There's about 2 hours at least worth of content. And this will help introduce you to the Heroic program. Now, I am a trained Heroic coach, so I've gone through this entire program. I've coached people through it. I actually use Heroic as part of my coaching process to help find their ikigai, which is basically your purpose, your reason for getting up in the morning. Also, an unbeatable mind coach, and a mental toughness coach as well. All thanks to programs that I found through the Heroic program. So if you want to go deeper than just doing some modules, if you want someone to actually coach you through a process of getting your mind and your brain healthier, and it's come up and this is what you think is the problem, then reach out. So I will get to questions later in shortly. The full blueprint questionnaire, just so you know, looks like this. You can fill it in online. There's actually an updated version of PDF where you can just tick on the boxes. And then, oh, that's strange. It doesn't want to show you. Oh, there you go. And then I can rate everything, and there's 30 different scores, although you actually only fill in 28. It's obvious when you do it. And this helps. As you can see, there are 7 different areas as opposed to 4 in the provide section. There are 8 areas in to protect as opposed to 4. And then in the environment one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Well, actually, there's actually, you don't actually take all 15, to be honest. So there's many more areas in the protect area. So as you can see, this questionnaire gives you a lot more information, but it does need some interpretation. And then not only do you get an idea about you need provide, protect, or promote, it actually tells you which area you need to work on. So for instance, in the promote area, we can actually help identify whether you have a problem with your GABA glutamate continuum, which is an important chemical in your brain. If you don't have enough, you can have seizures and mania. If you have too much, you can have all kinds of weird problems, or either one way or the other. So, and then serotonin continuum, so there's happiness and loveliness at one area, but it can cause diarrhea or Tourette's if you've got the wrong levels, too high or too low. And then there's dopamine as well, though I do use a separate questionnaire for dopamine. At one end you've got Parkinson's, and the other end you're a paranoid schizophrenic. So when it comes to health, it's more than just a questionnaire. There are other aspects to your health, which is why I use the Magnificent Seven for those of you that are clients already. It is about thinking right, talking right, drinking right, eating right, moving right, which is not in part of the Cell Blueprint questionnaire, detox, and sleeping. Sleeping is asked about a lot in the Cell Blueprint questionnaire, but there's no one sleep strategy. And these things in turn will protect your body, your brain, your bowels, and all the cells within it, and provide you with health. So if you think you need more help, then basically you can reach out. But hopefully what you've learned so far, before we go into see if there's any questions, is you can provide yourselves with better nutrients. You can protect yourselves better with the right things. You can improve your environment, and you can improve your health. But it's up to you. And you